Hello, checking in with The Biggest Bluff. How I Learned to Pay Attention, Master Myself, and Win by Maria Konnikova. Konnikova, that's what I'm going to go with. This is for chapters 7 to 13. It's a self-help book, I guess, in a way. It really is. But I don't really believe in self-help books. I believe they exist and that they're a market and that a lot of people buy them. I'm just deeply skeptical of them myself, in the sense of using books to help yourself. I mean, I did use a grammar book to teach myself grammar, but that was like really just like a textbook. So yeah, I mean, I'm kind of learning lessons as Konnikova kind of is continuing to go through the process of learning how to play poker and the lessons that she's getting from it. And that might be the main thing that I get from this, is pay attention, which, that's one of those statements which you can say, but is probably a lot more fundamental to actually incorporate and actually do. Stuff like, don't get bent out of shape when things go against you. Don't focus on the negatives, but rather focus on, well, what could I do? It's like, don't focus on, oh, I can't believe I got bad cards, but no, focus on, well, how can I deal with getting bad cards? Or, how can I deal with having bad circumstances in your life? There's a lot of things that are not in your control, but that isn't to say that you should become, as they said, like, she's talking about locus of control. It's like people who've got, a strong locus of control, actually will do active things, where someone who sits like, oh, it doesn't matter what I do, will end up having bad outcomes because they won't try and do anything. So there's very much that kind of thing of like, it's not luck that you're making, it's you can't control odds. All you can do is control your reaction to the odds. And things will go bad, but if you actually try and do stuff, you'll do better. We've gotten into a thing of like, tells, and just like, how bad people are at actually reading other people. And she seems to have stumbled upon a thing of like, well, actually faces are terrible for trying to read people, because the people who are trying to deceive you really control their face. It's, and did a study of someone who, like, how they threw the cards down the table, just looking at their hands and seeing what that was doing. And it's like, oh, they could kind of read confidence levels of, maybe how confident the person was who tossed the cards down on the table. But I don't know. Yeah, there's a whole thing about this. It's like, it's interesting in, I think, the whole thing of probability and stuff like that, even though I don't have any math to really understand this on a deep level. But just, there's probability, and just kind of the idea that we're crap at actually judging properly probability. And, things like, just like simple things like a coin toss. Like, if it comes up heads 5 times, well, then what's the chance that it's going to come up heads the next time? Because you're on a run. It's like, well, it's still strictly a 50-50 chance. It doesn't change because the last 5 times are that. And that people look at small sample sizes, like, 5 coin toss, to make predictive things about what's going to happen next. No, you should be using hundreds and hundreds, and then you see that it's just strictly, it'll average out to a 50-50 chance again, unless the coin's screwed up. So it's an interesting book. It's not boring me. I just can feel that kind of self-help thing to it. And as it's funny, as a bookish person, I remain deeply skeptical that books can actually significantly change how a person is going to go. And, maybe if I was somebody who was like, oh God, this book is going to change my life and I'm going to study everything and I'm going to do all that. Like, would it change my life? And I mean, she's in the book is sort of saying like, well, you can get all sorts of like knowledge, but you actually have to do real world stuff and real world testing and see how you yourself are reacting to this stuff and how who you are affects this knowledge and these actions as well. So she's going to go into, is she giving out tells next? And definitely the other thing in this book is definitely, it's like, okay, this is a hyper masculine world. There's very few women in it. She kind of casually mentions early on that, she's playing online and, people using the chat function to call her a C word and berate her and all this sort of stuff. It's like, it's not a friendly place for women, probably not a friendly place for anybody who's not a straight dude. It's interesting how she actually kind of goes through, it's like, okay, and just, how much prejudice she will, assumptions, biases will come into stuff. If she sees a bald-headed guy with lots of tats who's got big bulging biceps, she figures, oh, he's going to be a super aggressive player. And she kind of reacts thusly. And it's like, well, you've got a sample size, you've only got him. Yes, maybe he's got biceps. That shows maybe more testosterone. He's got the tats. But it's like, he could also just be a very kind of mild player. You never know what kind of, you're using those things as tells. It's information that actually isn't relevant to the thing. Yeah, so interesting stuff of just, using it as a lens on how you operate in the world, how you make decisions, how you make biases, how you deal with the odds, all the odds in the world. And, that the odds aren't particularly, it's not good luck or bad luck. It's just, it is. Which, gets us back to the whole thing of religion again, of just like, it's phenomena and it's not personal, and trying to keep your ego out of it and to always be thinking, always assessing, be less sure, be more questioning, is good advice. Whether I would actually take any of it, whether it'll actually penetrate my skull, I don't know. And I won't know until you're in the moment, at which point I'll probably lead with my gut and fall on my face. So yeah. All right, I will leave it there. More videos later.